Hey folks, welcome back to Dig Drive DIY. I'm coming to you this week from a little bit different setting. I'm in Libertyville, Illinois. We're here visiting family and having a great time hanging out with them for the weekend. It's just about 30 miles northwest of Chicago, so if you get the drone up in the air, you can actually see the city skyline, but we're a good ways out. Anyway, the last few weeks have been really busy for us. We've had a lot of sporting events, a lot of things on the weekends that are occupying our time, and well, quite frankly, I haven't made much progress on any of my ongoing projects. Although there is some movement, it's just not as much as I'd like. So I kind of had two options: either not do a video this week and completely leave you hanging, or put something together that some of you may enjoy, and for some of you, you may not have any interest whatsoever. And I completely understand if you click off now and you come back hopefully next week. But what I thought I would do is, a couple weeks ago, we got to go with our girls on a field trip to Indianapolis, and part of it was really interesting for me, so I thought some of you may enjoy it. So what I'm going to do here is just give you a little recap of our field trip and show you the bits and pieces that I thought were kind of cool, and then hopefully next week we'll be back with more of our regularly scheduled programming. I've got some things I want to share on the F-150 I'm working on, and then we've got some other new projects coming along too. So we'll be back next week with that more regular stuff, but until then, hopefully you'll enjoy our little trip to Indianapolis.
Dig Drive DIY!
When I was in elementary school, the 5th graders always got to make the 2.5-hour trip to Indianapolis, and the 6th graders got the big 3.5-hour trip to Chicago as their year-end field trips. It was a rite of passage to ride the charter bus with all your friends and spend an entire day away from home. So I was disappointed to hear that COVID and the pandemic took that tradition away for our kids. And the big city trips, well, they've been missing ever since. But this year, they decided to start slowly bringing them back. And our girls in 7th grade got to go to Indianapolis. So naturally, Kara and I both signed up to be chaperones. The itinerary for the trip began with a visit to the Indianapolis Zoo, which surprisingly none of us had ever been to. So we were looking forward to seeing what it was all about. They had a lot of the usual suspects that you'd expect to see in about any local zoo, but we were impressed to see the grizzly bears up close and personal. And then we just happened to be walking by the big dolphin exhibit right as the next show was scheduled to start, and my oh my, none of us were expecting the SeaWorld level of show that we were about to get. The dolphin experience wrapped up just in time for lunch, and then before we knew it, our time at the zoo had come to an end. The girls were really disappointed that we didn't get to see the elephants and some of the other African stuff, but I was really looking forward to the next stop on our trip, so selfishly, I was ready to move on. The Indianapolis 500 is known as the greatest spectacle in racing, and you can begin to understand why as you take in the size and the scope of the 2.5-mile oval track and the enormous infield that makes up the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've been here several times before for the Indy 500 and some of the time trials, but Kara and the girls have never set foot in here. So I was excited for them to experience the track, and I was really looking forward to getting to see the all newly redesigned museum. This is why I came on this field trip. This is pretty cool. I have never been in here. Been to the Speedway 3 or 4 times or more, but never been inside the museum. So it's pretty awesome. The Speedway has been here since 1909, so there is over a century of artifacts and history on display at the museum, and it's really incredible to see how much of the cars and technology have changed in that amount of time. It was really interesting to get a really good up-close and personal look at all those antique race cars, and even the old cars seemed advanced at the time, which makes the modern cars now seem almost like something out of a science fiction movie. We got a good look at all the history, and then we moved on to the hands-on portion of the museum. They had some really cool simulators that the girls got to try out, and it was fun just to experience and put your hands on some of that stuff. Did you win?
Highly doubt that.
Let's go see the other parts of the museum.
What?
Let's go see the other parts. Then there was the Penske exhibit, where I really enjoyed seeing some of the winning cars of the past and the present, and I really like to get to see all those different engines. It's hard to wrap your mind around just how many years they've been racing the Indianapolis 500 and all the history. It's just incredible, the amount of stuff in there. And one of my favorite parts of the museum, though, was this hallway of like time travel where you could see different cars of different eras displayed in a period correct garage bay with all the corresponding tools and paraphernalia of that era. It's just amazing how much things have changed. And with that real life depiction, you know, you can see the hand tools morph into computer tools. We ended the museum tour with what was likely the coolest exhibit, a fully immersive video display making you feel like you're standing at the starting line on race day. It really was an enjoyable experience, and it's easy to see why the Speedway Museum is recognized as one of the best in the country. This is a really nice museum, and if you're in Indianapolis, probably well worth the visit. If you're into motorsports and all things cars, it's cool to see. We ended our visit with a walk out to the track where we were lucky enough to see quite a few drivers practicing for race day. We happened to be there just 4 days before the Indianapolis 500, so there was a lot of action, and the weather was terrific. So we're lucky because it's a beautiful, nice day, and they're actually practicing here at the Speedway. So good to see some cars in action. And a couple laps, you get a good feel for what's going on here. Girls probably would have traded their time at the track for more time at the zoo, but for a dad like me, I thought it was a perfect way to end a field trip, and I was really glad I got to come along. Okay, I think we're about to head back home now. It's been a fun day. I really enjoyed the Indy 500 part of the trip, so I think next stop is pizza, and then back home. Well, thanks for tagging along. I hope you enjoyed that. I thought the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum was fascinating. I couldn't believe the number of cars they had in there, the simulators that they had, and that 3D display with the race cars where you stand right on the track and see the planes go overhead. That was incredible. So I thought some of you might enjoy it, as I did. This is probably the last time that I'll share this type of video on this channel. I've got another avenue for how I want to share this kind of stuff, the more personal things and the family stuff that we do. I like sharing that and bringing it to you, but I've got another place where I'm going to do that moving forward. But there'll be more about that in a future video. Next week, I'm probably going to bring you some updates on the current project status. I hope to have my F-150 about done with its makeover, and then we'll move on with what I hope to do in the future on some new projects too. So anyway, that's what I have for you this week. I know it wasn't much, but regardless, I want to thank you so much for coming back week after week to see what we're up to. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if I'm lucky, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. We're headed out for supper.